One of the many tactical innovations of the First World War was so-called walking fire. The idea is simple. You advance towards the enemy while hip firing your LMG on the go. Now, the image of actual soldiers in a war running towards the enemy while shooting full auto from the hip like it's fucking Star Wars sounds silly. You can't aim if you don't aim. But there's actually more to it, and among the people who thought it was far from useless were those on the receiving end of it. For after facing it, the Germans experimented with it themselves, despite having an LMG that is wholly unsuited to it. In fact, some allied countries would carry it well into World War II, despite the nature of the fighting having slightly shifted. So, how the hell was this considered effective, worth copying, and keeping in doctrine for several decades? Well, it has to do with how it fits with the rest of the tactics of the time. Basic World War I tactics in a nutshell: you have attackers in lines of little groups that alternate between laying down to shoot and rushing forward for a few seconds. On paper, when one advances, another shoots to suppress the defenders, so on and so forth until everyone is right in their face. There's a few issues with that. First, in a real battle it's common that your troops end up as less of a neat little line and more of a chaotic mess of small groups that are often isolated from one another, or are in a situation that makes coordinating hard. So they need to rely more on their own fire. Then, when a group is right next to enemy trenches, about to do the last rush towards it, it can be hard for nearby friendly groups to shoot at the trench in front of it without suppressing the guys trying to get in it. So they need to rely more on their own fire. Then, of course, the closer they are to the enemy, the more effective the enemy fire is. So when they're right next to the enemy position, they need as much fire to be laid on them as possible, so they need to rely more on their own fire. Now, LMGs help greatly with that, but there's a problem. If you are in open terrain, moving everyone piecemeal is a great way to have everyone slowly get picked off one by one. It's why people do those big rushes where everyone runs together for just a few seconds. But if you are the only thing suppressing the enemy shooting at you, even if you have them completely suppressed and hiding in their holes, it's gonna be easy for them to tell when the bullets completely stop flying overhead that it may be time to poke out and shoot again. And that was the point of walking fire. They hardly expected it to actually hit a defender that is well protected and concealed. It was a way to keep the bullets flying when troops had to move in the open close to the enemy, to keep the defenders under pressure while attackers are in the most vulnerable position. And this leaves us with one last question. If it was actually useful, why did everyone stop doing it? SMGs and assault rifles did its job better.